been a fair amount of time since my last post. Since then, I started streaming on Twitch for a little bit. And well, I have this model now that I drew myself. I now no longer will suffer the consequence of drawing like little files of like different expressions and emotions because it takes so long and so annoying. But besides that, we must get to the point of this video, the point of what I'm creating on this day, the point of why I came back, right? I've been wanting to come back for a while with an actual post besides like an animatic or just some random stuff. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Twitter. Pretty active there. But I wanted to come back and tell you, explain to you, have you understand and perceive the OCs that which are one of my greatest obsessions in life. So that's the point of today's video. First off, I want to apologize for the extensive amount of background noise you may hear, like static-wise, my ceiling fan and fan. But anywho, I want to start off first with their redesigns because that was the first thing I did, and that's gonna be the first thing you see now. So, just to start off, the names of these characters are Malak, Bel, and Libalan. Originally, they represented like a sun god and moon god that I made for my friend's god universe that didn't really go anywhere because, like, look, artists can't really commit when you think about it. But anywho, it went on to me later in the year, turning them into my greatest obsession. The favoritism is very real. The favoritism is definitely there. So, Libalan is our moon god, and Malak Bel is no longer the sun god, actually, but they were the previous sun god. In the beginning, around the time where the peak of my obsession for them spurred, I created this animatic last year. With, if you did see it, I posted it on this YouTube channel, but with the song Once More to See You by Mitsuki, and pretty much it like embodied everything they were for me at that moment, and it still does in some but not all aspects. So my biggest qualm and issue was I was constantly trying to figure out what is the reason and what is the cause for the fact that they are, once more to see you or whatever, not being able to be with each other for barely any extended period of time and having to hide their relationship. So that was something I never really knew. That one meme where artists like make stuff about their OCs. It's like this TikTok. It's like make stuff about their OCs, but here the artist is constantly saying, "Oh, I don't know." And that was me. I did not know what their reason for being was, what the reason that they could not love was. So that was my biggest issue and one of my greatest problems of like making content for them, because I never really had their full story. But a few weeks ago, luckily, I was on call with one of my homies, my best bro, commission them decast their art on TikTok or something. I don't know, Caster, my homie. But I was on call with them while drawing Malak Bel and Libalan's redesign, what you are watching right now, and I will like put an insert of their old designs. So I was just like yapping. I was just yapping my mouth. I was just yapping their ears off, and I was just like, man, I don't know what to do. Like, I want to keep like that angst, that sadness that I so crave for these characters to have, of like, oh, I love you, but I can't be with you, or I love you, but like there's something stopping us, and like we want to be together forever. So I was just struggling with that notion for so long, and I was just yapping to bro, like, I don't know, bro, I don't know, like, what is it? Because the main reason why that became such an issue to me is because I inserted these characters into the world of Velastra, which is the universe Love's Eternal Maze is set in. I haven't really talked about it much, but Love's Eternal Maze is like this story about these twins, but it's not relevant to they're these two characters, but it's like in that universe. It's like a fantasy world that I created and made a bunch of gods for, and I just made a full-on fantasy world, different nations, gods, and so on. So when I inserted them into Velistra, it was like, wait a minute, now it doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense that they can't be together. Like, it literally has, there's no reason. Like, why can't they? So I was just like, trying to wrap my head about why and what that problem is. But eventually, it came to me. The reason being, the reason they could not love each other, the reason they couldn't be together is because. So, in my first ever rendition and design of Malik Bell and Libelan, I drew Libelan like yearning and looking at Malik Bell, who is distant but close, who constantly has their eyes closed. Yeah, I love like having characters that just have their eyes closed. It's so fun. But that was my first ever rendition. They were like a yearner. I was gonna make it like one-sided, but in my first ever creation of these characters, but that did change. So I wanted to keep the fact that Libelan is a yearner. Libelan is like, I will like sculpt millions of paintings of you in a time that we cannot be. Referencing, what's his name from Heaven's Official Blessing? I can't remember, I have the book, but I can't remember his name. But if you know, you know. He made like a bunch of sculptures of Shalian. Shit, bitch, I don't know. It's been a long time. I can't remember now. It's like 4 in the morning when I'm recording this voiceover. But if you know, you know. And I was just like, Malik Bell is the type to like, thousands of years, make sculptures, paintings, detailing every little thing that they have of Malik Bell in his memory. So that was like something I wanted to keep about Libelan. I don't want them to be happy. Okay, I want them to suffer. If they ever met me, if they ever met their creator, me, they would like hate me or something. I don't know. But back to the task at hand of what I was gonna say. I decided, drum roll please, I don't know. I decided to make Malik Bell a human. They are an elf, so they have a long lifespan, but nonetheless immortal. So that's what I decided to do, and it solved so many issues for me. And one other thing about them is that they're like soulmates, like their souls are like connected. So I wanted to implement this idea of like reincarnation for Malik Bell, or maybe like just their souls are connected in the way that if Libelan were also a human, they would always meet, they would always find their way to each other. I don't want a 7 Deadly Sins situation with Elizabeth and Meliodas, because like that was weird. She was like a fucking kid, and he was like, oh, Elizabeth. But anyways, that's like what I want to avoid with this like whole reincarnation thing of like, bro, being a human and being a baby at some point in time. So what I decided to avoid that very, very, very like type of thing was that I decided to make it like their soul, her soul, his soul. Anyways, Malik Bell's soul is like, and like it's like in limbo every time they die. I don't really know, or they reincarnate into different universes. I haven't really fleshed it out, but I know for a fact that whenever they are born again, be it in a different body that looks completely different, it's the same soul, and it's kind of like that soul awakens at some point in time when the character is an adult, because I don't want them to be a minor. Please release me from that poison, okay? But their soul will like awaken or something at some point in time, and some way, somehow, one way or another, they will meet again. And there's this one game I played a little bit ago. It's like an indie game. It was a story-based game. If you know of the story, Solensia, but the artist Dark Tube Shadow. If you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say. If you know, you know. But nonetheless, in the game, they have like the demo game. This is spoilers, but I don't think anyone's like played it or really knows about the story that much. But this is spoiler warning if you ever want to play this game. It's not done yet, but pretty much like in like an alternate universe thing, like they were both born at the same time, and it was like in a modern world, and they met each other by chance. Badam and Sal, that's the name of the characters. They met each other by chance, and like they felt as they had this connection of like they knew each other but they couldn't remember, and then like certain things happened and they like recover those memories. It's like, oh my god, we had this whole life. So in a sense, it's like that for Malik Bell, as to where they would maybe some way somehow meet Libelan again, and it would be like, I feel like I've known you my whole life. And then those memories will like resurface, recover of like the fact that their souls are so connected. Because one thing I added is that they get married, which is awesome. And in that sense, like his soul, his being has been blessed by the moon god, and their souls are connected by like that pact of love and marriage. Yeah, I don't know, maybe marriage is different for gods or something. So their souls are like forever connected. Like they have like this innate ability to sense one another, if that makes sense. So for Libelan, who's like waited like centuries, millennia, years for like Malik Bell to return to them, because when you think about it, it's so sad. Because Libelan, this long lived being who is pretty much immortal unless like something were to happen to them, in a sense that they would die and have a new incarnation, which I will get back to. I will get to you in a moment, because like what happened to the actual sun god, the sun status of sun god, who's a new sun god, and I will tell you that quite soon. So pretty much for Libelan, when these moments happen, it hasn't happened yet, but whenever it does happen, that a Malik Bell passes, be it an incident, old age, whatever it may be, he will be like extremely solemn and sad, but comforted by the fact that their souls are connected, and the potentiality for them to meet again is very likely. So also this drawing right now, bro, I don't think you understand. I was looking at the reference I used once I finished the drawing, and I realized like the person is the base of the Malik Bell is supposed to be sitting in Libelan's hand, because actually the hand is like it's like cut off in in the reference. It's like cut off, and I didn't realize they're like holding them in the hand, and like the person's sitting, and they're supposed to be knees there. But anyways, it's not really important because it looks fine. But anywho, so Libelan is like solemn, sad, whenever that moment arises that Malik Bell dies, and will be waiting, like I said, comforted by the fact that they could meet again. So I solved my biggest qualm and issue about these two characters, but I really just want to talk about their relationship in a sense. So I love my white-haired melanated characters so much, and Sun and Moon characters is like everything to me. It's their love is beautiful, and one thing I wanted to keep was that the fact that it's only for them. Like, they don't need to share the fact or like show the fact, I guess, when they're intimate, in a sense. It's like I want it only to be a thought in my head, I guess, or a thought for them. Even I, as their creator and artist, don't know or don't perceive and realize. So I've said this before multiple times, how Libelan is a yearner, but for Malik Bell, it's not that they don't love Libelan as much. They totally they totally do. She totally does. He totally does. But he totally does love Libelan just as much in that juncture of obsession. And I wish to learn more about Malik Bell, because I haven't written more. I just know they're like this warm-hearted person who, about their statue, for Malik Bell, since they are a human now, no longer the sun god, how they meet. You wonder how these two characters even meet. So in a sense, I don't know if I will keep this set in stone, but for the time being in my mind, Malak Belt is a priest or a priestess, whichever you prefer to call them, for the sun god. Oh my god! Because I want to keep those sun motifs in there. Also, a mage to justify the fact that I kept the halo because, like, oh, and it looks cool and it like adds a little extra silhouette or whatever. Can we talk about this drawing right now? Oh my god, it was really fun to do. The inspiration came to me greatly, but I do want to quickly. I did have one more drawing, one more speed paint. I did the apple tree. Yes, yes, yes. I did have one more drawing. I did do, but I didn't record a time lapse, so I will just sit and sulk and die and cry because I did not do that, and I will forever be upset with myself because I like reset Krita and I didn't save the time lapse, but I'll show that at the end. All the drawings at the end and the beautiful montage with beautiful music or whatever. I don't know, but they have changed my life in how I view love, I guess. I'm not romantic by any means, but I like to extend my view and how I feel about romance onto them because it's just my perception. I have no experience, but their love is like when snow melts and spring is coming. Like winter has just ended. Spring, summer, whatever, I don't care. Spring, summer, whatever. But the snow is melting and flowers and stuff are like blooming. They're like the delicateness of, I guess, that emotion when you see it, when you're just like, ah, it's finally warming up slightly and the flowers are blooming, but there's also like a bittersweet to the fact that, for me at least, because I enjoy snow, I enjoy the cold, of the fact that a cycle in life is over, but there's new life because, okay, plants and stuff don't really die when winter arrives, but they go into a sort of hibernation. So they kind of embody that cycle of change for me a little, but not much change because they don't change. They're kind of in a time loop. Something I had in mind. They're kind of in like this loop because, okay, in the timeline they are now, like in the present being that I created them now, today, in this moment, they've just met. Not they've just met, but this is the first life for both of them. And another thing with the gods in Velastra is that when, like, for example, the sun god dies, they have a new incarnation. Not dying as in like they die, they've reached the end of their life, but as in like all killed or something, or sacrifice or something. I don't know. I'm stealing from Genshin Impact, but in an instance, if a god dies, they will have an incarnation. Also, I'm also referencing, if you know, in spoiler warning for the show Sandman. Okay, spoiler warning. Don't get on my dick. Okay. Pretty much what happened in the end is, if you know, Morpheus, the Dream King, King of Dreams, dies. He dies. And pretty much there was this kid who was born in the dreaming because, like, a bunch of people, when Morpheus was, like, kidnapped by humans, he was, like, kidnapped and trapped for, like, 100 years by this family because they summoned him because this guy wanted, like, power or whatever, or a wish from the Dream King. And pretty much what happened was, like, he was trapped for 100 years. But anywho, during that time, people went into, like, comas, or, like, they couldn't wake up from their dreams, and dreams and reality would, like, get crazy mixed up. So pretty much, he died, cause like he killed his son, and like the thing with the fates or whatever is that you can't spill family blood amongst the eternal or whatever they're called. So there was this kid born in the dreaming because this couple had him, and like he was born in the dreaming, but he also existed in the real world, and he was going to be like the new dream king if something were to ever happen to Morpheus, which did happen. He died, and that kid, like in a blink of an eye, he was like a little toddler baby, and he just grew up. Like his physical form got really big, so pretty much. And he had some of like Morpheus's past memories of like his role as the Dream King. So for gods in Velastra, because I am a thief. I am a thief. Look, chastise me if you will. For the gods in Velastra, if like a god were to die or something, they would have a new incarnation that would look slightly different or look similar or look the same, whatever. And the personality would be slightly different, but in a sense they would be the same, but like different. Um, but to elevate, evaluate, extend on that, if Malik Bell, I mean, Libelon, Moon God, if Libelon were to die, like, he would have a new incarnation that would still have that soulmate connection with Malik Bell, because it's the same soul, but it's been like put in the washing machine for a very extended spin, and it will come out with like little to no memories. But because of that soulmate connection, they would still be connected in the scene that one of them would die. Okay? Now, I will continue to tell you now. I will tell you about the new sun god, which you are probably seeing right now. Their name is Sulian. Kudos to my homie for giving me that name. Give me a moment. Okay, so this is Sulian. I'm sure you've like already watched some of the time lapse already, but this is me saying it now. Okay. So pretty much Cillian is the new sun god. The previous one died in like a recent few hundred years. That's why they are so young. They're maybe like 600 or 5,000 or 500 years old. Who knows? But she, he, they, whatever. They're fairly new. And if you notice at all, I did mix the color palette of Libelon and Malik Bell into them because just to add a little extra salt to the wound, I wanted to make them kind of look like their secret love child or something, even though they're not. Maybe it was a gift from the higher gods that, like, caused all the god of life. Well, there is a god of life, but like, is she the mother of all the gods? No, she's a god of life for like human life and stuff like that. But whatever is the higher being that brings all these gods into existence, the parent, or either that or they're born by ideals, which makes more sense. So this is our new embodiment of the sun, my blazing hot joy, love of joy, love of my life, my cute child. She is she. See, I'm like misgendering my own characters. They don't actually have like any sort of gender or anything. Please don't follow in my steps. I'm so sorry, Sulian. But pretty much they're like based off of a ram. If you've noticed, many of my god characters have like animal characteristics. If you see my poster or any videos, you will know. If you know, you know. I don't feel like editing it in and showing you right now. I would, but not right now. I want to finish making this video. But pretty much Sulian is the new sun god with characteristics from sheep, ram, goat, whatever you want to call it, with the mixed color palette of Malik Bell and Libelon, having Malik Bell's hair color and pretty much eye color, and then having Libelon's skin tone, eye shape, similarity in eye shape. Yes, the downturned eyes, the droopy downturned eyes, the long eyelashes. They also have little the same animal, pretty similar animal characteristics to Lebanon, because Lebanon is a owl, goat, and bat mixture. There's a lot going on with Lebanon, okay? I made them before I put them in Velisra, so they have a lot going on. But this Sicilian, they are so adorable, so cute. If I saw those eyes staring at me in the darkness, I would be scared. But they are like the embodiments, their characteristics of like naivety and kind of trusting, seeing that no one can do any wrong in a sense. But they're newly born, they're like a little baby. But they're naive. They're also a little mischief, and they see Lebanon as like a older sibling, and the god of life as like a mother figure, because we have a god of life in life and death, Nua, okay, human life in a sense, life of plants and all that jazz. I will share her design. Maybe I probably won't though. I've posted her on TikTok if you want to see it. She's not really posted anywhere else because of AI with Instagram, and I'm trying to figure out how to poison my heart. But anywho, this is my lovely child, full of joy and whimsy. When they get emotional or disgusted by things, as you can see in that little sprite, their hair tends to flame up a little bit. They kind of have that big poofiness of like the sun too, what the sun looks like from the earth when you squint your eyes and you look at it, and it's like all the rays going in different directions and all that jazz. Again, when I came back to do this drawing, it was after I had reset Krita, so I don't have the entire speed paint because I went on to do a little sprite of a new hair design for them, which I will show once this ends. But I guess this is the end. I've yapped an extensive amount of time. I will also share these drawings, various drawings, the finished pieces of the characters. Thank you for listening to me yap for an extended period of time. I truly appreciate it. This video was almost 30 minutes, but it's not. I'll do my out. I already did that out. Okay. Anyway, I'll pass it on to my past self actually, because I recorded this before I did that. Well, I hope you enjoyed my very extensive, long yap session about the characters in which I love so very much. I'm gonna try to post more. I can't promise anything because I don't know. You can follow me on Twitch, but I haven't streamed since last year. And like multiple months before the new year. Oh, and happy new year, because it's a new year. And follow me on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it. I'm on there, regrettably. Don't follow me on Instagram. I mean, you can if you want. I don't post on there. Follow me on TikTok too. And also, my commissions are open once again. They've been open for a while, and it would be greatly appreciated if anybody checked it out and just putting me in your thoughts would be awesome. Trying to become more financially stable. Anywho, I'll see you guys in the next video. Maybe a once a month post or something, I don't know. But, see ya.
No quedé en casa para cuidar al gato, todo por culpa de la gata. Si no se hubiera quedado atrapada en el aro.